Hey guys, welcome back to the show. Today I have the beautiful, the adorable, like dimple-tastic
Oh man.
work with Eliza.
Aw, Holly, thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. I'm so excited to talk to you and tell you all the things you want to know and all the things you don't want to know too, because you talk a lot. So it's gonna be all of it.
I'm going to tell you, girl, that is perfect. That's what you want for a podcast. You don't want people on who don't talk, then it's not a very interesting episode. And then I end up talking all the time and people don't want to hear from me.
That's not true. That's not true.
If you read my YouTube comments, it's kind of true. But God, when was the last time I saw you when we shot that Wicked Pictures movie, right?
Oh my gosh, yeah, that was it. That was feels like a year ago now. I really couldn't even tell you when that was.
Yeah. So we shot a movie for Wicked Pictures called Best Friends, Better Lovers with Eliza and Cody Steele. And
don't forget Eva. She was
no. I was gonna go there. Yeah, Eva played the Polish landlady, which was, oh my God, so funny. I literally almost couldn't direct that scene because I couldn't stop laughing.
That was so awesome. I love Emma so much. She's so nice, and you guys are both really lucky to have each other because you feel like you guys are a super good team together.
We are. It's really weird. It's like we've actually become I am still her boss, but we have become good friends. She means a lot to me. I actually had this really horrible dream this morning. I dreamt my husband left me.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, 8.5 months pregnant. And you know when you have those horrible dreams and you wake up from them and it takes you a while to shake it off?
Yeah, you're like, don't talk to me. I feel like they really did what they did in the dream.
Yeah. So, we had a Zoom meeting this morning just about work stuff. And I told her about the dream. And another part of the dream was that, he told me that he didn't want to be with me anymore. And I stormed out of my house. And I was going to go stay with a friend's house. And I realized I didn't really have any friends to stay with. Uh-huh. So that was this other part of the dream. It was I have no friends. And then I talked to her this morning. She's like, oh, it's okay. She's like, you could have come and stayed with me. And we could keep the baby in my closet. And I was like, that'll work.
Or in the dresser drawer or something. That's the crib.
We'll make space.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, no, she's great. We're super compatible. And I feel really lucky to have her because it's really hard to find people who, are really great, workers, are really smart, can teach themselves stuff. She can do a lot of different things. And also who care about you, generally care about you and care about the company and care about your brand. So I feel very lucky. Absolutely. So thanks, Eva. You'll never hear this, so don't give me ideas.
Shout out to Emma, just in case you do hear this. I love
you. So how have you been? Have you been starting to go back to work now that we're finally sort of shooting again?
Yeah, actually, I got really lucky. Vixen and all them gave me a 60-day contract right when things started going back to work, and I was able to do 4 scenes a month for them. And I was really happy with that. It worked out really well because, of course, Mark worked out a really good deal for me. So I was really thankful because I know people were having a tough time finding work because, people are kind of unsure about whether or not they should be shooting right now or it's such a hassle because you have to get the COVID test the day before and stuff. So it's a lot of effort that goes into it. So I was very thankful. I got to shoot some really cool things that I'm really excited that are going to come out soon. And now I'm starting to book for other companies as well towards the end of this month. So that's really exciting. But yeah, I did some anal stuff, which is nice because I don't really do that too often. So it's new for me.
How many anal scenes have you done?
I've done 3 anal scenes, and my 4th one is going to be next week or something like that, sometime next week, I think. And I like anal in my personal life, with the right dick, but I feel on camera, there's so much more pressure. I don't know how to describe it. I've never been nervous to have regular sex on camera, but with anal, it's so much more there's so much preparation that goes into it, and it's I don't know, it's a lot more scary. So it's like I've been trying to just be able to relax and enjoy and remind myself, like, you like this, like, this is fun, like, this isn't scary. So don't be so like nervous going into it. So it kind of reminds.
Are you nervous because you're afraid that there might be like a little bit of a mess?
Yes, I'm afraid there's going to be a mess. I'm afraid, like, what if sometimes it's like the dick might be too big and it might hurt or something. Like, I heard one time someone said something to me like, when you do anal with a porn dick, it's like a plunger going in there and just like pulling everything out. And I was like, that scared me so bad. I was like, oh my God. Like, because with regular dicks in normal life, they're not that big, you know, so they're not like digging inside of you that crazy. So yeah, it kind of scared me a little bit when that person told me that, and I was like, okay, I better be careful. But yeah, like I go through like a really strenuous prep process to make sure that everything's good down there.
So tell us a little bit about your process, because not everybody knows that like porn stars have their own very specific way of preparing for an anal scene.
You know, I'm still trying to find out the best way that works for me, because I've heard a lot of different things from people like, oh, don't eat the night before. And then some people say, like, you can eat, like, just don't, like, eat anything crazy or, like, stuff like that. So I personally found that the best thing is when you're able to use the bathroom right in the morning before the scene, because then that way you, like, clean everything out before, like, then you don't have to worry about anything else coming out later. And then still, like, obviously enema and stuff like that. With the water in it, not with the enema solution, because I heard some people didn't know that as well. Like, you have to take out the water, otherwise it's like it's the opposite of what you want to happen is going to happen. Like, it's going to be even more messy. So it's like
wait, hold on, explain that, because I actually didn't know that. I know that a lot of times with douche, girls take the water out. I mean, yeah, the solution out, just because like they do it so often that it throws their pH balance off. But with enemas, I wasn't aware that you would switch the solution for water.
Yeah, I definitely do water instead, because it was my understanding, maybe I'm wrong, but it's my understanding that if you use the solution, it makes you like shit a bunch. Like, it makes it like
stimulates your that makes sense.
So I was like, yeah, I don't want that to happen. I've heard some horror stories, dude. I've heard some crazy things from people. So I'm just like, I think that also scares me so much too. Being in the industry, you hear so many stories on set of like, oh, this happened to this girl. And I'm like, I don't want to be that girl that people are telling the stories about. Like,
everybody, every producer I know, including myself, has some kind of like shit story.
Yeah.
But I mean, to be honest, like, we all, you know, we've been doing this for a long time. We understand that we're putting the human body through a lot doing these scenes. And it's not something that really, I never get fazed by it. I never like have been like, oh my God, that's so disgusting. That girl like can't control her poop. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, come on. Like, we're asking you guys to do some pretty crazy shit, no pun intended. So, you know, it's understandable that sometimes like it doesn't go exactly perfectly. And it's kind of like, and I feel like a lot of the male porn stars feel the same too. Like, they've all been pooped on a little bit at some point, and they're just like, you know, you just wipe it up and you just keep going. And
exactly. It's like, at this point, if you're like a squeamish type of person, you probably shouldn't be in this industry, because there's a lot of things that happen that aren't for the faint of heart when it comes to that kind of stuff.
I know. And sometimes I'll shoot a girl and she'll be like, yeah, I'm like super, and they'll say like, oh, I'm squeamish about body fluids, or like I'm a hypochondriac. I'm like, what are you doing?
No, not work. It's like, you can't be scared of spit, you can't be scared of cum, you can't be scared of blood, you can't be scared of like any of it, none of it. Even like all of it, you have to be okay with everything.
Especially like you cannot be a cum dodger.
No.
I have a great cum dodging story, actually. Just let me just a little aside real quick. I was shooting. It was a long time ago when I still worked for my mom. And we were shooting this girl who I think was new, and we never shot her again. And I think it was one of the situations where like she was new to boy girl, or it was her first boy girl, and she just didn't really want to be there. You know what I mean? She's just one of those people that shouldn't be in the porn industry.
For sure.
And, you know, so we talked about where I always talk about where the cum's going to go before the scene starts, you know, like, are you okay with a facial? Like, you know, like, cause some people aren't, you know, and let's talk about where the cum's going. It's very important to discuss where the cum is going to go. And she agreed to a facial. Mm-hmm. And I think rather reluctantly, probably. And so the guy goes and he starts, and this is in video, right? So I can't cut it out. Because the one thing you cannot ruin is the cum shot, because you can't do that again. No. And the guy starts coming on her face, and she immediately starts going, ew, ew, oh my God, it smells like oatmeal. Oh my God, ew, ew.
First of all, oatmeal's not even bad. It could smell a lot worse than that.
I was like, oatmeal's like a nice healthy breakfast.
I'm happy if it smells like oatmeal. Sometimes that just smells like battery acid. Like, what the hell? Like, oatmeal is one of the better ones I've heard.
And I was just like, we can't use that footage now. Like, what? You know what I mean? It was just, oh my God. I was like, okay, this is just, and that's just one of those days, like when you end up, you know, you're like, oh fuck, this girl should not be in porn, and like I should have never booked this scene, and like,
sure. Yeah,
this is not fun for anybody.
Dude, I mean, like, I feel like a lot of people go into this industry thinking it's one thing, and then they realize like it's something else, or they're like looking for a way to escape their lives or something, and then they like, I don't know. I don't understand. Like, how, to me, it's like, how could you do this job unless you really loved it? Like, I couldn't understand, like, the thought process of being like, I want to do porn, but I hate sex and I hate cum. Like, what the fuck? Like, why would you? It just doesn't make sense to me. Like, you have to enjoy what you do. Otherwise, there's so many other things you could be doing instead. And it's like, and this is something where it's like, it's so personal. It's like with your body. So it's like, it's a physical thing with your body. Not that all jobs aren't physical body situations, but I mean, like, it's a little different because it's like a sensual thing. So it's like, you should really be comfortable with what you're doing, because it's like, otherwise it's really going to take a big toll on you later on if you're not.
Yeah, I mean, that's an incredibly astute observation, and you're absolutely right. And unfortunately, I wish everybody had that point of view. But I think, you know, people just make bad decisions in general all the time. Not everybody grew up with wonderful coping skills. Mm-hmm. And I think that, you know, for some people, porn just seems like an easy way to make money and maybe get out of a bad situation. Or they see, you know, this glamorous lifestyle that they think these other people are leading, and they think that that works for them. But you're right. I mean, there's so many things that one needs to consider before they get into porn, which is really why you're a Spiegler girl, because, you know, he only takes on girls that he knows are really set for the job.
Yeah.
For the most part. I mean, you can never always know. Yeah. But so that actually leads me to a question. What is the, you know, you're not new. How long have you been in the industry?
Oh man, I've been in a little over 2 years. I started in like March of, I don't even know anymore. But it was like 2 Marches ago or something like that. So it's been a little over 2 years. It's like 2
years. Which is kind of new in the industry. I mean, you work so much and you're so professional. I think, you know, you feel like a seasoned veteran, but just time-wise. But what is like the one thing that you thought about the industry before you got into it that you found out to be like absolutely not true?
Oh, that's a good question. I'll have to think about that one. Well, I guess that maybe everyone is like, I know. Well, I guess I know there's a lot of predisposed like things that people think like, oh, everyone in porn has like issues or everyone has problems, and like they're like chose this because they had to. Because I know my family personally was like, why did you do this? Like, was this like, they thought it was like my last option or something, you know what I mean? And I was like, no, like I feel like that's what a lot of people think, not myself, but just in general, a lot of people. So like I realized coming into this, that's not true. Like a lot of people do this job because they love it, not because they got put in a hard situation and they were forced to do it, or like because you know, they feel like it's their only way to get fulfillment or something. Like, no, it's because they really just genuinely enjoy pleasing people and pleasing themselves at the same time. So it's like, I don't know, like I feel like that's a big thing. Like not all of us have issues, or all of us are like crazy people that, you know what I mean? Like I feel like a lot of people have met me and then they're like, you're not what I expected you to be like. I've heard of that so many times in my life. And I'm just like, well, what did you expect? I'm like, what did you already, like, what could you have possibly thought about me, like from my job? Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, my cat's making me guess.
Oh, believe me, I'm watching your cat. It made me laugh the minute he came on screen. It's like, don't mind me. I'm just making my bed over here.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so it's just like I feel like that's one of the big things. Like there's a lot of just genuinely good, normal people here that are just here to have a good time and not, you know, put their problems out there into the world. But I mean, on the same coin, there are people who, you know, do this for the wrong reasons and do have issues or whatever. But I mean, that's anywhere in life, you know? So.
Yeah, exactly. I think you're absolutely right. There's definitely people in this industry that shouldn't be in it, but there's also a lot of people in this industry that this is like the perfect job for them.
Absolutely.
You know, and that's kind of part of the reason I wanted to start this podcast, because I wanted to like show the world that like there are, you know, porn is full of all kinds of different people, and there's a lot of wonderful people in this industry who have found empowerment through doing porn and financial stability and you know, a whole community that aligns with how they feel about sex in the world. And it's kind of like a little family, you know, and
absolutely,
it can be really nice. So, but you're right. There are people also too who, you know, it just doesn't make sense for. And I personally wish that for those people, they didn't have to deal with the stigma that they face, you know, trying to get out of it, because that's what really breaks my heart is when people come into, because it's like one thing if you come into, you start doing some kind of job and you like realize this is not for me. Like, I don't know, you become a fucking accountant. You're like, this is bullshit. You know, like I hate this job. This is not for me. This sucks. Like I hate my boss. I hate the hours, whatever. And so you leave accounting and then you go become an insurance salesperson, and that works for you, whatever. The thing is, the people at the insurance salesperson, the insurance company isn't going to not hire you because you're an accountant once.
Yeah.
Right. But if you work in porn, that stigma can follow you. And a lot of times when girls try to get out of the industry and do something else with their life, they get blacklisted because of their porn background.
Without a doubt. I feel really sad about that because it's like, I even like before this, I wanted to be a teacher. And so like,
so did I.
Really? That's so funny. I thought like, cause I really love kids. And like, I feel like if I have to spend the day with somebody all day, I would rather it be like fun little kids, you know, like not like adults who are like freaking being mean and telling me what to do and stuff. But I mean, like that's not all jobs, but some jobs it's like that. And so like, I feel that though, because I know, like I've seen on the news and stuff, like people who are teachers or educators and they ended up getting outed on like their past for having like some kind of porn industry past, or either like they have an OnlyFans or something and then they get fired from their job because of that. And I'm just like, well, I mean, hopefully our future is changing. Like people are becoming more open-minded towards that idea and realizing that sex work is not this terrible thing that should be like, you know, looked down upon. But I totally feel what you're saying on that. I think it's terrible that a lot of these girls, they feel like they have nowhere to go after this and they feel like they're stuck here. So that's super unfortunate. But like I said, I really feel like our future is changing. And as the older people that have the more outdated mindset are, you know, moving on, we're getting these new people who are realizing, you know, like people are people, humans are humans. Like, you know, there's good people that are teachers and there's bad people that are teachers, and there's good people that are important, there's bad people that are important. You know what I mean? Like just because your career doesn't signify everything you represent as a whole. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I think we can all think of a horrible, horrible teacher that we had.
Oh my
we
God.
would much rather swap out for like a porn star that we love.
Dude, if I could have like Kristen being my teacher or something, I'll be going to class every single day early. I'll be staying after school to hang out with her.
Did you say Kiss of Sins?
Yes, she's like, she would be an amazing teacher probably, but she's like a really high energy person. But
yeah, she's wonderful. I love Kissa. I've had her on the podcast a couple of times. She has a really incredible outlook on life that I find really admirable. But yeah, it's kind of like society treats you like you're this sexual deviant. It's almost like you become like a sex offender. You know, like a sex offender could never become a teacher for obvious reasons, but like then a porn star couldn't either. And it's just like, there doesn't need to be, just because like you have sex with people on camera for a living doesn't mean like you're dangerous around children.
No, absolutely
like
not.
But
it's crazy. It's so crazy. And it's like people forget, like most of the time, a lot of the bad people on earth are the people that are in positions of power and are doing things like being a teacher, being a priest, being a school counselor, like all these things, like those are usually the people that are bad. Not all the time, but usually those people pick those positions because they know that they can take advantage of people doing stuff like that. So it's like, it sucks that we get put in the same boat as a lot of people that are looked down upon. But that's why you just have to be really confident and sure of yourself and who you are. That way you're not affected by other people's opinions, because this is a terrible job if you genuinely care what a lot of people think about you.
They are going to tell you on social media exactly what they think of you.
Oh yeah, everything. There's going to be people that are being the nicest to you, telling you they want to marry you, and then there's going to be people that are telling you they want you to die. And you know what I mean? So it's one extreme to another, and you can't hold value in any of it. You just have to realize what you think and what you believe, not what other people are telling you, whether it's good or bad.
Yeah. And I think also recognize the way that people treat you is usually a lot more reflective of themselves and how they feel about themselves. Absolutely. And all those trolls that come after you on social media about being a porn star are people who have serious personal sexual hangups. Absolutely. Because otherwise you're not going to spend that. Why are you going to follow a porn star? Consume her work and then attack her for it, unless you've got some serious angry sexual repression going on in your life,
Without a doubt, regular people don't fixate on the things that they hate or the things they dislike. So it's if that's what you're devoting your time to, you definitely have issues. So yeah. I never ever have let anything like that affect me. I remember when I first joined porn and I told my mom, she immediately was just her first question was, why are you doing that? Literally the first words out of her mouth, why are you doing that, baby girl? And then she started crying and she was like, everyone's going to see you as this nasty, dirty girl. No one's going to see you for who you really are. Everyone's going to think you're oh, she's not a whore. And I was like, I mean, that's because she's they don't know the ways how your family sees you. And I'm like, yeah, mom, duh. Of course they're not. Why would I care to have them see me how my family sees me? This is just a job. This is just something that's made for pleasure purposes and for fun, I'm not asking them to analyze my whole life. And I don't even want that of them, So it's I was surprised she even said that, because I was like, why would you think that I would care that people would see me like that? You know what I mean? As long as I know who I am and my family and my friends and people who I value their opinion know who I am, then why would I care what some guy in Indonesia thinks about me? You know what I'm saying? Anywhere in the world, why would I care what they think? They either like it or they don't, and that's not my problem, I'm happy for the people that do respect me and enjoy my work. I'm very thankful and gracious towards them. But, I don't lose sleep overnight over the people that don't appreciate what I do. So
your mom probably felt that it was reflective on her and how she raised you in some way, because you always get those comments oh, your mother must be so proud. What'd your parents do to you? You must have been molested when you were a kid.
All the time, yeah. And it's my dad even was my dad and my brother both said the same thing. They were I should have been a better brother. I should have been a better dad. And I'm you guys were great. I'm there is this has nothing to do with, I'm they're kind of conceited to think this is all about them. This isn't all about you. Just make this has nothing to do with you at all, actually. You know what I mean? I didn't choose this because I was dang, my brother wasn't that cool. My brother, it was actually my favorite brother too that said that. So I was what the hell? You're crazy. But yeah, I feel a lot of people, when they hear that, or in my family, when they hear that, they had this hang up that they did something wrong and that's why I chose this, which makes me sad, because like I said, that means people are looking down on this career, thinking people only do it if they experience something bad. And I'm just no, people just do this because they really like sex and they see it's a cool way to make a career out of it, But yeah, it's been a rough path with my family trying to figure it out. Actually, the funny thing is, most people would expect the dad to take it the hardest, and my dad was the most accepting really about it. He was more so I just want to make sure you're not making a mistake or you're not going to regret this later on and stuff. But he wasn't kind of talking down on me about it. You know what I mean? Making me feel like shit. He just wanted to make sure that I was safe and okay. So yeah, that was interesting that my brother took it the hardest. He made me really feel crap about it. And he threw me through the ringer, dude. It was so bad. It was when I first told him, he was okay with it. He was well, okay, no. That's a lie. He wasn't okay with it. He called me and he was like, "What the hell? Like you like you knew I was gonna find out like what happened, like what's going on." And I was like, he was
because you ruined his porn watching for him. Because
right?
now he's gonna go on Pornhub and come across his sister.
He refused to tell me like where he found out, and I was like, "Damn, maybe that means he saw like a video or something." Like he like his,
Totally.
I hope not. I hope that's
no, but like I mean, to be fair, like almost all men, especially young men, I'm sure he watches porn, which is a perfectly natural thing to do. Absolutely. So it's got to be one hell of a shock when you come across your sister.
Yeah, without a doubt. But I just remember like all that happened, and he was so mad at me. And then like a few weeks later, he's like, "Oh, can I FaceTime you? Because I'm at work with my friends and they don't believe you're my sister." And I'm like, "What the fuck?" And I'm like, "You literally just like scolded me and like made me cry for like a week because you like told me you were so upset with me, and now you're like showing me off to like your friends. Like, what the fuck?" And so then like everything was fine after that. And then I had like messaged him on Christmas or something, like a few Christmases ago, saying Merry Christmas, and my number was blocked. And I was like, what the hell? And I was like, that's weird. So I had messaged one of his friends, which was our mutual friend. And I was like, hey, did my brother change his number? And he was like, no. And I was like, okay, well, you know, can you ask him if I'm blocked or something? And he was like, for sure. And I guess he told me, he thought I knew, but my brother was having a baby. And the girlfriend did not want the baby to know who I was because the baby was going to be a girl. And she thought, oh, like maybe. And I'm like, first of all,
I'd like to point out the fact that the baby isn't going to know shit for a couple of years because it's a fucking baby.
Dude, exactly. That was my thoughts exactly. I was like, what on earth? He's missing out on a really cool aunt because I would have spoiled that baby. So you guys suck. You're depriving that baby. But second of all, like what the hell? Like that's such a crazy way to think for me. Like to think that, oh, you're like, I don't want my baby to know somebody because what if they decide to do porn? Like even if that did happen, it would have to be like 18 years down the line. Like that's so ridiculous. Like it was really upsetting to me to think like my brother, who's like family, is just gonna like drop me off the face of the earth because of something like that. And like it was really rough to go through that for sure. But you know, at the same time, it's like this is the life I chose. I can't like undo it, and I wouldn't undo it even if I could, you know. So it's like other people's reactions to my choices are. Can't be mad at them for it because it's just going to cause distress in my life. You know what I'm saying? If I was still mad about it to this day, I'd be depressed. But I kind of have let that go and realized, you know, like that's his choice. If that's what he wants to do, then I can't really be mad at him for it. So like, yeah, but fortunately I have a pretty good relationship with most of my family, and they haven't like disowned me or anything besides him. But yeah, I do feel for those people though that even like have no family at all, or like they come into porn, like I said earlier, they're trying to get away from their life, you know, like they just want to become a whole new person, and that's why it's really porn is an easy thing to do that because you have a whole new persona, you're usually in a whole new town that you grew up in, and it's like you kind of just leave everything else behind if you don't want to be involved with that. So yeah, it can be a good thing for some of those people, or it can be a bad thing too, because maybe you'll end up feeling really alone.
Yeah, and yeah, that's so true. So I do feel bad for people who don't have like a solid family background or like a good friend base that's going to support them when they get into porn, because you know it can be a very isolating career because a lot of people judge you for what you do, like you just said. And when you go through hard times, which all of us do, you know, regardless of whether or not you work in porn, like we all have times of distress where we really need to lean on other people. And if you don't have family and you don't have like you don't have friends that are going to support you, that's really lonely and it's really hard. Yeah. And I think that's the hardest on people in the adult industry is the isolation due to the stigma that comes from porn.
Without a doubt. I actually, early on in the industry, I had one of the girls say to me, she came up to me and she was like, hey, you know, like this industry is very lonely. She's like, you're going to feel alone a lot of the times. And like, if you ever need someone to talk to, I'm here for you. And when she said that, I appreciated it. But at the same time, it was still early on. So I was like, what is she talking about? Like lonely? Like, I don't feel lonely. Like I don't understand what she's saying by this. And then the more things developed, the more I realized what she was saying, because like specifically even just in like romantic relationships, I never realized how hard that this career could affect something like that. It does feel incredibly lonely because there's so many times where I just felt like it was going to work out with somebody, and then it didn't because all of a sudden they're not okay with my career, or they just decided that, like, it's not for them anymore. Like, which, to each their own. I totally understand that somebody that couldn't handle this, being with someone with this career, it definitely takes a certain type of person that would be okay with this. So, not that it's a bad thing. I don't think it's bad. It's just that that is emotionally tolling, I'm sure, for that person to be with somebody in the industry, like if you have to look at it a certain way and realize it is just a career. It's just work. It's not personal or emotional. So I've definitely been through some crummy experiences with relationships in the industry. Like, there was one guy that I was with who, he actually really liked my job, like a little too much. Like, he wanted me to come back and tell him all the things I did and talk about it during sex and stuff. And at first I was like, okay, cool. Well, I finally met somebody that doesn't hate what I do. You know what I'm saying? Or I finally said, it's I thought that was a cool thing at first. And then the more and more it went on, the more I was it felt like he more liked the idea of who I was and what I was doing than actually me a little bit, And I was like, am I being fetishized? In a way, I was I don't know, it's maybe not that cool. He was a fun guy, but it was just not it wasn't meant for a long-term thing. And then even just more recently, I had this relationship that was great, amazing, literally nothing wrong. It taught me so many healthy coping skills, and it broke me out of a lot of toxic things that I used to do in the past and made me realize that's not the way to be anymore. But out of nowhere, he had told me early on that he wasn't sure if he was going to be fully okay with my career. He was like, we'll take it as it goes. And I was like, okay. Out of nowhere, one morning, right after we have sex, he tells me that, hey, I talked to my dad last night, and he asked what you do again, because I guess his dad had asked him previously what I'd done, and he kind of gave him the ring around. And he said, my dad asked again. And I believe him because it was during a time when one of my videos was trending on Pornhub. So it was on the first or second page of Pornhub, for a couple of days. So I was the dad probably saw the video on Pornhub and was like, what the fuck? Wait, okay, what does she do? Trying to get it out of him. And so he was he told him what I did. And the dad is super conservative and strict and basically.
Yet he was probably found you on Pornhub.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, dude, those are the people that watch porn the most, the people that go to church, the people that, are so very strict and conservative in their ways. They're the ones that watch it the most, in my opinion. But yeah, so he kind of talked him out of it, and I guess made him feel like shit for being with me. This is bad. Are you sure you want to do this? And he even told him I'm not allowed to come over anymore because he lived with his dad, and he was like, yeah, you're not she's not allowed to come over anymore. And I was like, what the fuck? And I had met his dad so many times, and I was always nice to him. So I'm even the fact that he knew how I am as a person, that he would still be like that was so weird to me. And it was more painful for me to have somebody tell me oh, it's not my choice. It's not really me. It's someone else in my family that convinced me. Because I'm think for yourself, if this is something you're not okay with, then that's one thing. But it hurt more to hear someone's family is forcing them to make a different choice, So
yeah, I mean, it comes right back again to what we just talked about, with is the stigma around porn, yeah, which drives people's decisions about how they treat people in the industry. So, I mean, that's a perfect example of just, for me, the biggest problem with porn is really the way society treats people in the industry, not the industry itself.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
without a doubt, I completely agree.
All right, guys, we're going to go to a quick commercial break, and we will be right back.
If you're here, it's probably because you're a fan of my podcast, Holly Randall Unfiltered. Well, that's great, because I'm a fan of my podcast too. Now, if you don't know what Patreon is, it's a crowdfunding platform that allows people to make contributions on a monthly basis. Because this podcast costs money to make, maybe even more so than others. I'm obsessed with quality. So since the beginning, I have always recorded in a studio, had a professional sound engineer, and recorded professional video. All of these things cost money, as you can imagine. And I also made a pretty scary decision this year to cut down on my directing gigs so that I could focus more on this podcast, which is why I need your help now more than ever. But don't worry, I'm not asking you to give me something for nothing. In exchange for your contributions, I offer so many perks. For example, access to the live streams of all of my interviews, a bonus podcast that I do called My LA Porn Life, Q&As where the stars answer your specific questions, behind the scenes interviews, merchandise such as mugs, shirts, and stickers, access to my private Snapchat, and so much more. You can join for as little as $5 a month and help me change the way the world sees the adult industry and sex work. So take a look around and see everything that I have to offer. I really hope that you'll join and be a part of our little community.
Okay, so we're back. Now, before you came on, I asked my Patreon members as well as people on Twitter if people had questions for you. Mm-hmm. And one question that came up a couple of times was about some incident from the Howard Stern show, which I don't know anything about because I don't listen to his show. Yeah. So can you explain to me what the hell people are talking about?
Yeah. So I had a friend, a mutual friend who I guess was close with the people in the Howard Stern show. And one day he approached me and was like, hey, they're looking for a girl to go on a date with one of the guys that works at the show. And they want to like record it and like just have it be a feature on one of his episodes. And I was like, yeah, for sure, I'm down. Like, that sounds fun. And he was like, yeah, he's like a really nice guy. Like, you're going to just have like a cool time. Like, it's just like, they just want to hear you guys talking about whatever. And I'm like, for sure. So I go and it was definitely different than what I thought it was going to be. They made it seem like it was just going to be like a regular date, you know, like, and to just monitor the talking situation. And little did I know, they bring me up to the hotel room, mic me up, and they're like, okay, so you know, if you and him end up having sex, can we like have a microphone in the room and record like all your guys having sex and stuff and like play it on the radio? And I was like, first of all, we're not having sex. And I was like, second of all, even if we were, no, like what the fuck, like you guys are gonna pay me? Like what the hell? Like no way, absolutely not. And so,
because they just assume because you're a porn star, you're going to fuck everybody that you come across.
I felt like that's what it was. I was like, you guys like automatically like for one of the first things, like, and then once I was kind of like know about that idea, they were like, I felt like they were like really depleted. I felt like they were like, that was the whole point of this thing, was to like hear the sex and like, yeah. And like, and I didn't know that at all. Like I said, my friend had just approached me as if it was like a regular just date and they just wanted to hear like talking and stuff. And so at that point, I could tell they were like, oh, damn, like, we don't really know if this is going to, like, make it on the show anymore or anything because of that. And I was like, okay, well, I mean, whatever. Like, I don't know what to say to you guys. Like, I didn't know that this is what I was getting into. Otherwise, maybe I wouldn't have come, you know? So we go on the date and I didn't know he also had, like, a wife and that it was, like, some kind of, like open relationship thing, like some like three-way type of situation thing. I don't know, dude. Maybe I didn't do enough research on him first. I should have like looked up more about this guy and like realized what was going on here. But he wasn't mean or anything. It was just like a weird situation. And at the end of the night, he was like, yeah, well, do you want to like go to the room or whatever? I was like, no. And yeah, so I thought it wasn't even going to make it on the air. I didn't even know like when it was on. I just knew like all of a sudden people were messaging me and stuff like, oh, like you went on a date with Brent or whatever. And I was like, oh, wow. Okay. So they must have aired it. But yeah, I guess that had been a thing. Like one of the main things with the whole show was that they had put him on a couple dates with girls and he was never able to like close the deal and have sex. So like I was supposed to be like the one where it like all went down. And I was like, man, you're so right. They expected me to do it, I think, because of my career. So,
were the other girls that he went on a date with, were they porn stars or were they regular?
I don't even know who they were, but I don't under my.
So they were like, okay, we're going to put her with a porn star. She'll definitely sleep with him. Because we all know that porn stars will
fuck anybody.
Like I said, fuck anybody because they're porn stars. So,
yeah. And then they maybe like, it was so funny too, because like when they first bring us to the room, like I literally like, just in passing, we like had the meeting at like the the bar place in the hotel. And so like they bring me up to the room to get mic'd up though. And like I had only seen the guy Brett for like a split second. He was like, oh, hi. And I'm like, hi. And I go up and they're like, and do a little pre-interview with me. And they're like, oh, so what did you think of Brent? Blah, blah. And I'm like thinking in my head, like I literally said, just hide him. I was like, they're like, what was your first impression on him? I was like, he's bald. And they were all laughing at me because I was like, well, what do you want me to say? Like, oh, he's really nice. He seems super cool. Like, I literally just saw him like for a second. Like, I don't have an impression on him. Like, I'm not going to say or lie to you guys. But, yeah, I felt like they kind of were a little disappointed with the way that worked out. But I mean, I wasn't going to be pressured in having sex with some dude that I didn't want to have sex with just to make them have a good episode, you know? But,
yeah, I think there's sometimes bigger shows like that have that sense of entitlement, you know. I think Howard Stern used to have that kind of pull, but I don't really think so anymore.
Yeah, and I guess that if I had sex with him, they would have like had me on the show to come back and talk with Howard about like how he was in bed and stuff. So I think they kind of wanted to use like that as an incentive to make me do it too. And I was like, no, like I don't care that much. Like I really don't like care to do that. And it was just like it was just like awkward. It was so awkward. I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna be doing something like that again.
Yeah, it would have been nice if they'd kind of like filled you in. Yeah,
I would have
about or approached like your agent or any agent, been like, hey, we're looking for a girl to do this scenario. But also too, like, I mean, and that, you know, and as a sex worker, you know, I know that you guys are very careful about who you sleep with outside of work. So like, was this guy tested? Probably not. Right. I mean, you're definitely have to use a condom then. It's just like,
yeah, the funny thing is they wanted to have me come back like the next day and do it still. He even texted me. He was like, hey, would you be willing to come back another day and like do it? And I was like, no, but the guy who had like mic'd me up was really cute. And I was like, no, but I'll come back and have sex with him and you guys can record it. He was like, no, sorry, like I has a girlfriend. I was like, okay, then no, like I'm not coming back.
Oh my God, that's funny. You're gonna ditch him for the sound guy.
Yeah, I would have fucked the sound guy, but
oh my God. So what is one of the things about the adult industry that you would change if you could?
Ooh, you know, one of the touchy things, I was going to ask you this question earlier of like whether or not you think girls should, if it's okay for them to be 18 or if we should change the age to like 21 or something.
That comes up a lot.
Yeah. My personal opinion, I started when I was 20. So, but my personal opinion is that I think it would be smarter for it to be at 21. I know there's a lot of girls who are 18 and who are very mature and they are totally capable of doing this job at 18 years old. But I think that...
And there's some women that are 35 that should be doing
exactly,
this job.
No, exactly. It goes both ways.
Yeah.
I think it would be fair to say that there's more who are 18 who choose this and regret it than there are who are 18 and choose this and end up doing really well.
Yeah, just because you make dumb fucking decisions when you're 18.
Dude, so many things
I was such an idiot when I was 18.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so many things I did 17, 18, 19 that I would never do now. Like there's things I did like a year ago that I would never do now. You know what I mean? So it's just like, it's always changing. But I think that's something I would change if I had the opportunity to do it. I would make the age be 21. I mean, a lot of people will probably be mad at me for that because there's a lot of people who love watching porn where the girls just turn 18 and stuff like that, you know? And there, like I said, there's a lot of girls who have been really successful, but it's just, I don't think the risk is worth it really because, like I said, there's just too many bad choices to be made at that age and you're not really sure of who you are yourself yet. And maybe you think that's something you want and you maybe just realize later on it's not. So that would be one of the things I would change. What else would I change? I wish more girls were informed when they came in the industry, like knowing like you don't have to have sex with a director, you don't have to like appease people you don't want to appease and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like I wish there was some kind of more like educational system instilled on these girls when they come in instead of them just being so blind and being leaded by the blind, basically. Like, you know, just them people who are telling them these things and then them probably because they're 18 believing it, you know? So
I was just gonna say, I feel like maturity plays into that a lot, and like
yeah.
lack of boundaries, because learning how to set boundaries is something that is hard for a lot of people, and it's something that you learn with maturity. So I think that a lack of maturity also helps play into that. The idea that you don't have like the kind of validity where you can say, put your foot down and say, like, I'm not going to do this because that's my choice and you can't convince me otherwise.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
I do agree though. I think, I actually want to do, I was thinking about this. Of course, I always have a million projects, but I want to do like a getting into porn, like online series and talk about, I mean, we talk about it so much in this podcast, but it's usually scattered between interviews. But to have like one really concise kind of like, you want to get into porn, like these are all the things you should know, these are all the things you should think about, these are all the steps that you should take, just so that people can make informed decisions.
Yeah, a proper introduction would be really helpful to a lot of girls. I know Spiegler tells me all the time there's so many girls who could have went really far, but they just made the wrong choices in their career, or they let other people make their choices for them, and they suffered because of that. So, it would be really helpful to a lot of girls, I think, to have a little more info going into this instead of just thinking like, oh, I'm just me having sex on camera and making money. Like, it's a little more complicated than that. There's a little more stuff that goes into it. But,
along those same lines, what advice would you give to somebody new who is thinking about getting into the industry? What would you tell them?
One, to be really confident and sure of yourself before you go into this, because like I said, I feel like a lot of people go into this looking for validity or like acceptance or like wanting people to want them. So I would say to these girls, make sure you're really confident in yourself and who you are, and don't hold the opinions of others so close to you. I mean, in my personal opinion, is like stay single because unless the guy's super, super cool, because in my experience, it's just brought me more trouble and heartache than it did positivity, So like, unless you're really sure that person's the good person for you, it's probably a better idea to just kind of focus on yourself and your career for the time being. Also, obviously save your money. That's a huge one, like don't blow it on, because a lot of these people, they never had money before, so they just want to blow it on everything, go buy the Gucci bag that you always wanted and all these kinds of things, which, that can be fun, but it's a lot more fun to have something better to show for your money later on down the line instead of a purse or a pair of shoes. So,
and also too, it's foolish to think that everything's going to stay exactly the same all the time.
Exactly.
I mean, when you first get in the industry, you're going to get booked a lot, but that may not necessarily continue because you're new. And even especially now with this whole like trend with the OnlyFans and stuff like that, girls are making a ton of money, which is great. But like, I never rely on a stream of income staying the same ever. Yeah. So I would take a lot of that money. Because I have an OnlyFans too. I take that money and I put it aside, and I'm paying off my debt, and I'm like saving for a house. Like, you know what I mean? Because the one constant thing about life is that it fucking changes all the time.
Yeah, it goes and it keeps on going. That's the truth. But those are the things that I would say. I can't think of anything right off top. I mean, I'm sure if I really put more thought into it, there would be like a whole guidebook that I'd be able to write. But I really feel like mental health is a big thing too. Oh, don't get on drugs. That's a big thing that I would recommend to most girls, because I feel like they get into here in LA and they live this like fast-paced lifestyle, partying and doing all these things with all these girls that they never knew before, and then all of them are doing all these crazy things too, so they want to do it. And that's how a lot of girls, I feel, also get caught up, because then guess what? If you're partying all the time, you're probably not going to show up to set, and then people aren't going to book you. And then, like, you know what I mean? Like, also your mental health is going to deteriorate. Like, you can't be an addict and maintain a healthy outlook and career at the same time. It's not really possible. And I have seen girls who I know were good girls, and they let the drugs take over them, and it's like they're demons at that point. It's like they're not demons, but they have demons that take over them, and I feel really, it makes me sad and it makes me hurt, because I don't like to see people change from who they originally were. But
yeah, I know drugs and alcohol, I can speak from personal experience, will definitely change you and will make you unrecognizable to your friends, your family, and most of all yourself. I mean, when I was, deep in my alcoholism, there was shit that I would do that I couldn't believe I was doing it, even at the time, you know what I mean? And it would be like this argument in my brain where there was this one side I just couldn't control that was like driving to the liquor store. And there was another part of my brain that was like, what are you doing? Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? It was weird. It's very weird. Addiction is it's a strange, dark beast on your back, man. And it is fucking hard to get off your back.
Yeah.
It is a lot of work.
Exactly. And if you don't necessarily have the friends or family there for you, I'm sure it's even harder, like you need somebody there to kind of help you out of that hole. So
totally. I was so lucky to have the support of my friends and my family, and like, I don't know how I could have gotten sober without them,
Yeah, without a doubt. That's I think another really big thing is just don't let the drugs and the partying take over, and don't lose track of who you were before this or who you want to become in a good, positive way,
Yeah. What motivates you to get out of bed in the morning?
Oh my gosh.
Questions I like.
Yeah. That's such a tough one. Oh my goodness. If it's work related, I guess it's like if I have something really exciting going on for that scene, like that would be a big thing. Like, oh, I can't wait to go fuck this person and put on like a great performance, and I know a bunch of people are going to be watching it. That's really exciting for me. So that's a good thing. Otherwise, I mean, like if we're being really like realistic here, usually the thing is like my cat stepping on my face, meowing on me, and telling me they want to get fed. That motivates me to get out of bed. But
fair enough.
No, but in a more like in a better sense, I would say like, having goals to accomplish that day helps me want to get out of bed. If I have plans like, oh, I'm going to go roller skating today, and I'm going to go see my friend in Long Beach, I'm going to do like these exciting things, that's very motivational. There are days where I don't want to get out of bed because I don't necessarily have plans or anything, and it is hard to like, force yourself to get up and do something on your own, like, like maybe yoga or meditate or watch a few of your favorite shows or cook a new recipe, stuff like that. But yeah, I like to sleep in a lot though, if I'm being honest. I'm one of those people that could sleep like 13 hours if given the opportunity. So it's pretty bad.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you get out of bed when you have to get out of bed. And the great thing about working in the industry that you do is that I mean, obviously you have set days, but you don't work a regular 9 to 5.
Yeah, no, that's super nice.
So you get to have those days where you can sleep 13 hours, because some days you're going to be on set for Wicked Pictures shooting a movie with Holly Randall, and you're going to be on set for like 18 hours. So
the funny thing is sometimes those 18-hour days go by so quickly as long as you're constantly moving around and doing
yeah
stuff. I've noticed there's been days on set where it wasn't even that long, maybe it was like six hours or something, but it felt like it was going by forever because the people just did not have a grasp on how to efficiently do things, and you just feel like you're just sitting waiting around, and it's so frustrating because it's like, well, we could be doing this right now, we could be doing this, should be going way more smoothly. So it's like I don't even have problems with those long days as long as it's like
people are efficient. Yeah, I hear a lot of these stories about people like, who just don't know what they're doing, and they don't have like a schedule or a plan, and a lot of shit is just time is wasted. I am very much like a fucking schedule.
Yeah, you are.
Plan person.
You are.
Yeah.
Sure.
So actually along those lines, what is like as a performer, because I could give you like 1,000 things that irritate the fucking shit out of me about like working with other people, like what performers do to irritate the hell out of me.
Yeah.
But what is it like? What are some things that directors do that make you crazy?
I could think of the exact thing that really made me upset one day was this one director, they had like the scene, we were doing sex, and they had the scene all set up in one room, and then they were like, okay, we want to change the sex halfway in and do the scene in another room. And I was like, okay, that's fine, I guess. Like that, like to just it's just the same scene, but it's just like the sex is split up into 2 rooms. I'm like, okay, whatever you guys want. But then like they didn't have that other room set up already. So me and this guy had sex, the connection's good, the energy's good, everything's going amazing. And then all of a sudden they're like, okay, cut. Now we have to go set up this whole room. And they were like fucking around, dude. Like they took so long to set up the room. They couldn't figure out how to do it because there was like mirrors and reflections all over the room, and like the lighting wasn't right. And like I was just like, I felt bad because the guy like has to maintain his boner this whole time. You know what I mean? And like he's getting frustrated because like we're just sitting here. Like it was a long time. I'm not joking. It was like at least like 30 minutes waiting there, just waiting for someone to like figure out what they're doing. And I'm like, you guys probably should have had that room like set up already, because like I understand like 30 minutes doesn't sound like a long time, but like to somebody who is trying to keep the energy,
keep a boner, it's a long time.
I felt really bad for the guy. Like it wasn't even me so much, but more so him. Like I'm like, how are we going to be able to continue making this good? You know what I mean? Like if he's struggling the whole time. So yeah, that was extremely frustrating, and they were just like wanting to like fuck around, and like that was
shooting in rooms with mirrors is such a fucking nightmare. And it's funny because if you get it right, it looks great. So I actually love to my crew likes to make fun of me because they know I love reflective surfaces, and I love to like work with mirrors and stuff like that. But like it is a fucking bitch.
Yeah.
And you definitely, especially if you're moving into a reflective room, in the middle of a scene, you need to know your angles, and you need to know exactly where you're going to be for that. Sure. Because otherwise you're going to be fucking around for a long period of time.
Yeah. And then like even his crew was getting upset because they're like frustrated about how to set up the room. So like the whole energy went down. Like not only is the performer getting upset, but then like all the crew is getting upset and frustrated. And it's just like, what are we doing? Like if it was this bad, we probably should have just shot it all in one room. Like it wasn't that crazy of a scene where it was like necessarily needed to be shot in 2 rooms. You know what I mean? Like it could have been just in one room and an awesome scene. So that was really frustrating. The other thing I would say about directors, it's not all of them, but some of them, like early on, definitely do take advantage of the girls. Like, luckily, being with Spiegler, I didn't experience that often. I only experienced it one time, really, where I felt like a guy was being a little weird. But
was he trying to get you to sleep with him?
Yeah. Like he had given me a ride home from set one day because I needed a ride, and he had lived in the area that I had lived at the time, and so he was like, "Oh, I'll give you a ride home," and I'm like, "Okay." And then like I kind of didn't really like it was like it was when I just started, so I like didn't really know like how to be and how to act and stuff, and like I had given him my number, but that was a mistake. Like I shouldn't have done that. And then I realized that he had a wife, which I didn't also know. I didn't know he had a wife. I found that out later on, and then I was like, yeah. So I never had sex with him or anything, luckily, but I feel like I don't get booked by that director because I didn't have sex with him. You know what I'm saying? Like not anymore. I don't get booked with him because of that.
Does he direct for like big companies?
He does, but I'm not sure if he does anymore.
I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he does.
If it's the person I think you're talking about, he was let go. Yeah. Because of that specifically.
Really? Yeah, I believe it. I definitely believe it. Yeah. But that was
the first girl that's told me that story.
And like I said, luckily that's only the only time I really experienced that, because like, you know, like I feel like I said, being with Spiegler, people know not to fuck around with us because we'll tell him and he's going to have some head. Yeah. So, but unfortunately, a lot of these other girls, they don't have any idea, and they think like, oh, well, if I do this, like he'll give me more bookings and like this and that. And it's like, chances are you probably really won't even get more bookings. You know what I mean? Like it wouldn't even be beneficial, because you're just probably going to have to keep having sex with him forever, or like.
Well, here's the thing too, that a lot of girls don't realize. And if it is who I think it is, and he works for the brands that I think he works for, he doesn't get to make those calls. I'll tell you right now, the brand picks who they want. Yeah. Now, you can recommend people, or you can say, or you could actually say like, I won't. There's a couple of people on my no list that, you know, like Twisty's knows like not to book me to shoot. Like, there's literally like 2 people that I won't shoot. And one of them, I think like I've changed my mind about because she's been cool recently. But otherwise, like they don't ask me who I want.
Yeah.
They're just like, this is who we want you to shoot. And that's who I shoot. Like, I don't get to choose.
For sure.
So, you know, I think a lot of times these directors make these girls think like, and it depends on the director. Like I know, like, Mike Quasar is shooting for Zero Tolerance. Like he really gets to pick like whoever pretty much he wants.
Yeah.
Like they'll say who they want every once in a while, but he gets a lot of say. But like if you're shooting for Gamma or you're shooting for Mind Geek, like they make those choices.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, without a doubt. So that's another thing that maybe more girls need to be informed on, that that's not how it works, because if you don't know, then how could you make those choices? But yeah, it's luckily I haven't had too many bad experiences with directors, in all honesty. I don't like when directors also are too like trying to like micromanage the scene, like in a very crazy way, like, okay, come, like, okay, Moan, say you want him to fuck you, say you want him, like, telling me like exactly what to say and exactly when to say it, and exactly, like, I understand saying like, okay, you're gonna build up to an orgasm in about 5 minutes, like, I totally get that, that's normal, but don't be sitting there screaming at me and telling me, like, I'm like, how the fuck do they even edit this out of post? Like, like this person's talking the whole time, like, how do they get rid of their voice? And it's like, and I'm like, and unless, I feel like you don't even need someone telling you that unless you're like a terrible performer and you can't hold your own at all, you know what I'm saying? But some directors are just so like immersed in it, and they're just want to be mitigating every single.
It's almost like they want to make themselves a part of the scene.
Yeah, and I'm just like, what the hell? Like, it's weird. It's weird when directors. I can only think of like 2 off the top of my head that are a little too, I don't know the word for it, but a little too much when it comes to. It. But like I said, besides that.
Well, actually, so along those lines, let's spin it into saying a little more positive. Who are some of your favorite people to work for? And you don't have to say me just because I'm here. Let's just get that out of the way. Let's assume that I'm one of the people that you're going to say is your favorite, because if you don't name me, it's awkward. So let's just put that aside. Besides me.
I already know.
Who do you love? Who do you like to work with?
There's this one director. His name is Tony Profane, and he shot my first like 7 scenes actually, because Bieber wanted me to go. He works for Porn Pros, and he wanted me to go on like a very relaxed set and not something too crazy for my first couple scenes, because then he was like scared I would get like too overwhelmed and quit. So he was like, I'm going to give you somebody who it's just going to be like you, the director, and the talent there basically, and it's just going to be super easy and you're not going to feel like overwhelmed. So I worked with him for like the first 7 scenes, and I felt like he was kind of like my porn uncle or something, because he was like so nice and so sweet. Like even after the second day, I brought him like gifts. I got him like cologne and stuff, because I was like, you're so nice. Like I'm so appreciative that like I was able to work with you.
You bought me a necklace, remember? I still have that.
Yes. Oh yes. Yeah. You found that little bat. I remember you found the bat, and I thought that reminded me of you.
Yeah, you're a little gift giver, which is really sweet.
Thank you. But yeah, I definitely, he's one of my favorites to work with, without a doubt. He's just a genuinely nice, down to earth person, not weird or creepy at all. Who else is a good director? Derek for Vixen is or like the Vixen brand in general. He's really awesome. He's a super cool guy to work for. Also just very lax set, because like Vixen sets are longer, so it can feel more like, okay, like this is a lot, but he makes the days feel really comfortable and good, and I'm appreciative for him for sure. You need somebody who's understanding and comfortable to be around when the days are long like that, But as far as talent goes, I really like Lucas Frost. You actually had me work with him one time for a scene, and he's just another genuinely nice person. Like,
yeah, he's great.
Yeah, I don't like people that like put up like fronts or like kind of like you don't feel like you really know who they are, because they're just like this persona or whatever. And it's like I don't get that vibe from him. Like he just is who he is, and like I really respect that a lot. Man, I'm trying to think. I always had like a really big crush on Vicky Chase. So when I got to work with her for the first time, I was like super stoked, because I think she's like so genuinely beautiful. And
I bet you guys looked great together.
Yeah, that was a really awesome. I got to work with her twice, because for the first time it was for like a threesome, and then when I got my Cherry Pimp's Cherry of the Month, they asked me who I wanted to work with, and she was on my list, and so they put me with her, and I was super excited, because I was like, hey, now I get her like all to myself. So it was even like kind of better than when I had to share her with a guy. But yeah, she's just like genuinely beautiful, and also another nice person, not creepy or weird or anything or mean. She's cool. I really love Gina Valentina. She's a great person. I don't think she's not in the industry anymore, but she's another person who just has a very good heart. She was actually the person that told me, like this industry can be kind of lonely, and if you ever need somebody, I'm here for you. And it's like,
That's really sweet.
Yeah, she was so sweet of her, and she's just such a good heart and soul. She's a very pure person. But yeah, I'm very thankful for some of the people I've met in the industry, honestly. Not that I really hang out with many people outside of the industry, but I know that it's good to see that there is good, like I said, it's not about these crazy people who are like all self-absorbed and stuff. There's people that are just here to enjoy their work and just have fun. So
I have to say, like, because I've worked with a lot of different people. I've worked with mainstream people as well as obviously mostly people in the adult industry. And there's something that's like almost more genuine about people in porn than there is about people who work in mainstream. I think that there's something about the fact that you guys are so like open sexually, and like you put yourself in such a vulnerable position by being like completely naked, open to the world. I don't know. There's something like, there's some kind of raw honesty that comes with that I think like translates into your personalities. And I have found that, like, for me, honestly, in terms of all the different kinds of people I've worked with and I've shot, like, I love working with porn stars and so many people that, have never worked on a porn set before, have said the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, these are such cool, down to earth, chill, honest, funny, like people.
For sure.
There's like a lack of pretense that you find sometimes in other like actors and actresses or models in the mainstream market. So yeah, I don't know what it is.
I could see that because like, even like, sorry, the people above me are like fucking having a party right now. I'm sorry if you guys.
Yeah, I was like, what is going on?
Having a
knocking at your door.
I don't know what is going on. I'm sorry.
Dude, it's like 3:15 in the afternoon. Who the fuck is having a rave right now?
I'm not kidding. I was like, of course this is happening right now. I'm sorry. But, yeah, no, I could see that actually because like being in this industry, you like you said, you're putting yourself in a very vulnerable position where people are seeing you for everything that they see. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like you can't really put that much of a front if you want to like enjoy your experience doing it, like you just have to be you and just be true to yourself and complete and whole. But like, it's at the same time, it's I do meet people though that I'm just like, you're a little weird, like you're a little like you got a little too wrapped up in whatever this is, and now you kind of think you're something you're not. But it goes like going back to like how you said mainstream. Like I do meet like celebrities sometimes, and like they're never how you expect them to be. Like usually they're really freaking like arrogant or like weird, or like you're just like, oh wow, like I wonder if they were like that before they were a celebrity, or if this like they got morphed into this because of the lifestyle they're living or something, because it's like it's pretty bizarre to see that. But yeah, I completely get what you're saying when you say maybe porn stars are a little bit more down to earth than most career paths, because yeah, you kind of have to not give a fuck, like I said, if you choose this job. So it's like
it's very, very true. Well, thank you so much, Eliza. This was such a pleasure. It was so nice to sit down and talk to you. If you don't mind hanging out for like another 10 minutes or so, I have a couple of questions that I want to do exclusively for my Patreon members.
Absolutely, I'd love to.
For like a bonus Q&A segment that I do. So awesome.
And next time I see you, once all this is over, I have a little gift for the baby too that I'm going to give you. So.
Can you tell everybody where they can find you online? Plug anything you want to plug, websites, whatever.
So first things first, like OnlyFans for sure. You can follow me on my OnlyFans, onlyfans.com/Eliza Ibarra. It's ELIZA IBARRA. You can find me on Instagram at Eliza22Ibarra _ and Twitter and Snapchat at Eliza22Ibarra. So that's that.
And you guys can find me at Holly Randall on Twitter and on Instagram. Of course, to support this podcast, as always, go to patreon.com/Holly Randall Unfiltered, where you'll be able to watch this exclusive Q&A that Eliza and I are going to do right now. Also, too, if you want to rate this podcast, which really helps me get up in the charts, go to ratethispodcast.com/HRU, and it will automatically detect the podcast platforms that work for whatever device you're on, and will direct you there to leave me a rating and a review, which would be so appreciated. Thank you all for joining me, and I will see you next time.
Bye.